Welcome. I'm Doug Morgan, and you're listening to Uncommon Sense, where we hunt for the truth in the topics you're not supposed to talk about, Christianity and politics. It's Friday. Yes, we love to bring you FOMO Friday here on the podcast. And FOMO Friday just means that we bring you the stories of the week that you should know a little bit about so you don't have that fear of missing out. And we bring you stories that sometimes are pretty heavy, sometimes they're very whimsical. And this week, I think maybe we have a few of both. So from a series of articles from the Daily Wire comes this very first one, and a former top Southern Poverty Law Center official was charged on Wednesday in a federal fraud case, claiming the organization secretly funneled millions of dollars in donor money to informants embedded in white supremacists and other extremist groups. Yeah, we've brought to you a few of these on the podcast as far as articles and just keeping you updated on this. Well, now we have charges. Heidi Barrick, who's 59, who formerly led the SPLC's intelligence project, tracking extremist groups, was charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to submit false statements to a federally insured bank, and conspiracy to commit concealment of money laundering. Yeah, Attorney General Todd Blanche mistakenly referred to her as the organization's former chief financial officer in a press conference, but Barrick surrendered to federal authorities nonetheless in California on Wednesday. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. Now, the charges are part of the Justice Department's broader criminal case against the SPLC, which prosecutors accuse of routing donor money through accounts associated with fictitious companies. So they just made up these companies and bank accounts to conceal payments to informants inside extremist organizations. Prosecutors say that between 2007 and 2023, the SPLC funneled at least $4.1 million in donor funds. I mean, these are funds that they were being given to this organization to fight, white supremacy and things, and hatred, and they're using these funds to make them flourish, right? Blanche said Wednesday that Barrick helped facilitate the financial arrangements at the center of the case. Quote, as alleged, I believe she was part of the effort to open bank accounts in completely fictitious company names and make payments to individuals for reasons that were not accurate as described, Blanche said. The latest indictment also alleges that Blanche personally oversaw payments to one informant identified as F9, who received more than $1.2 million from SPLC over the course of the alleged scheme. Barrick was romantically, shocker, involved with F9, according to the New York Post, and shared 2 bank accounts with him. So she's basically funneling $1.2 million to herself, right? Approximately $140,000 in SPLC money allegedly flowed through a fictitious company account into the couple's joint account between 2015 and 2021. This accounting for roughly 66% of the money deposited into those accounts during that period of time. Now, Barrick allegedly used some of the money to pay the couple's personal living expenses. So it wasn't like, let's go in for this, really good cut. Nope. They were using it for their living expenses. F9 allegedly infiltrated the neo-Nazi National Alliance and stole approximately 25 boxes of documents from the organization. Prosecutors claim the SPLC funds were subsequently used to copy the stolen documents, which Barrick used as the basis for an SPLC hate watch report. The indictment goes further, claiming that Barrick later paid another informant approximately $6,000 to falsely claim responsibility for the theft. So she's like, hey, if you take the downfall, I'll give you $6,000. Yeah, the 26-page indictment alleges that the SPLC funded informants used donor dollars while participate in extremist organizations, including to attend and host rallies, recruit members, establish chapters, publish racist literature, and purchase materials for KKK robes, hoods, and cross burnings. Because, of course, I mean, there's all this racism going on out there. We have to spur it on even more, right? No, there isn't any out there, so we have to make it up. Another SPLC informant identified as F37 allegedly received more than $270,000 while participating in the planning of the 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. Prosecutors say the informant attended the rally at the SPLC's direction and helped coordinate transportation for attendees. So they were helping this whole thing out. FBI Director Kash Patel added Wednesday that Barrick was at the center of the Bureau's investigation into the organization, saying, quote, as alleged, Heidi Barrick was at the center of our ongoing investigation into SPLC and their previously alleged criminal activity, where the SPLC knowingly misled donors who believed their money was being used to dismantle violent extremist organizations, when in fact, part of those donations were instead being used to pay senior leadership within those extremist groups. Yeah, Barrick's attorney, Michael Proctor, denied the allegations and accused the Trump administration of political targeting his client. Sure, right? Quote, taking on violent hate and extremist groups is among the most dangerous work there is, and we believe it is also among the most important work we do, the SPLC previously said in a statement to Fox News Digital. They said, we remain steadfast in our fighting for justice and in our commitment to ensure the promise of civil rights, the civil rights movement become a reality for all, and especially our bank account. No, they didn't say the last part. Anyway, that's good news that this week that indictment came down, and we'll continue to follow this story and just kind of let you know how that goes. Well, Michigan State Senate candidate Abdul El Sayed advocated abolishing the Second Amendment in favor of the right to have health care in a now hidden video. Now hidden video, right? El Sayed hid up to 100 videos where he pushed radical policies, including getting rid of the right to bear arms and complaining about fireworks. Yeah, CNN reported this on Tuesday, and his comments about getting rid of the Second Amendment came shortly after the transgender identifying woman murdered 6 people at a Christian school in Tennessee, saying, quote, what if we tweaked the Constitution, amended the amendment, and instead of the right to bear arms, we change it to the right to have health care? This is what he said in April of 2023. We're talking about literally 3 years ago. And it's according to the video viewed on CNN. He claimed that the move would lead to fewer people dying by gun and more people living because they have health care. Well, the hidden views come as El Sayed, of course, faces an exodus by Democrats from his campaign over his extreme views in association with the activists like Hassan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. El Sayed also deleted numerous social media posts and advocating to defund the police. In a July 2024 podcast entitled Fireworks Just Aren't Worth It, Hear Us Out, Sayed argued that fireworks suck and said Americans should find other ways to celebrate the 4th of July. The rant against fireworks was sponsored by the Marguerite Casey Foundation, which El Sayed noted advocated for feminist prison abolition. Just a wonderful guy, don't you think? He should be invited to all of our parties. El Sayed downplayed concerns about border security as illegal crossings surged to record levels under President Joe Biden in another video flagged by CNN. And in September of 2022, when illegal border crossings reached an astounding 227,000, El Sayed said that border security doesn't even make the top 5 among issues that people in the United States actually care about that affect their lives. I would have to disagree with that statement, wouldn't you? Quote, it's crazy to me that the party that says that they're the party of family values can't understand when people will make decisions for their families, because it's exactly what migrants are doing, he said. Yeah, not so much. In other resurface videos, Al Sayed attacked Michigan's beloved um, Mackinac Island and claimed football was a breeding ground for toxic masculinity. So he doesn't like football anymore, huh? Football is this is his quote, football is very much associated with a particularly masculine and oftentimes toxic masculine culture. yeah, yeah, part of what makes it fun to watch, men hitting men, right? Wham. Anyway, Al Sayed's campaign claimed his views articulated in the videos don't reflect what he believes today. Sure they don't. Yeah, they were only a few years old, right? The Michigander, he cherry picked comments from. He says these comments were cherry picked from old podcasts and don't reflect his beliefs today. While attempting to distance himself from some of his past statements, El Sayed's campaign still includes far left policy positions like defending so-called gender-affirming care and Medicare for all. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that race and see how that is going. Well, let's get to some kind of cool news, and I have to bring this up because, my family, we probably should have invested in a Chick-Fil-A restaurant, because we definitely go there probably too much, especially during peach milkshake season. But but there's some big news this week from Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A sparked new excitement this week when it announced that it's adding a new all-day chicken and waffles breakfast sandwich and a frosted coffee flavor and a new milkshake flavor to its menu this fall. Yeah, the breakfast sandwich has especially piqued Americans' interest, as it will mark Chick-fil-A's first nationwide attempt at chicken and waffles. The new sandwich features a chicken fillet and 3 strips of applewood smoked bacon. Ooh, that sounds good. Plus honey butter spread. That sounds even better. And a side of syrup. With 2 waffles serving as buns. Wow, that sounds good. Kind of make me hungry already. The restaurant is also adding a s'mores milkshake and a s'mores frosted coffee in celebration of the chain's 80th anniversary. Yeah, well, I'm not sure about the frosted coffee. I think my wife will like that, but the s'mores milkshake, that, if you're going to take away the peach milkshake here in a little bit, because it's seasonal, you might as well bring in s'mores milkshakes. I think that would be a good substitute. Well, the new lineup will be available to order on August 24th and will run through November. The announcement has already racked up a wave of positive comments on social media, like this one. Finally, some news I can actually give a you-know-what about, said one user. God loves us, wrote another. And even Florida Governor Ron DeSantis also chimed in, saying that's going to cost me 3 kids who will want both chicken and waffles and a s'mores milkshake. Can I get through the drive-through in under $50? He wrote. The answer to that's no, by the way. DeSantis is known to be a huge Chick-fil-A fan and previously said that without the popular chain, his family's everyday life would look different. I can understand that. Quote, that's probably our kids' favorite thing. And look, it's not like you just do it every day, but when you're going to a baseball game, to this or that, to be able to do it, it's important, is what he said. Chick-fil-A director and menu and packaging Allison Duncan said the restaurant decided on the new menu as nostalgia-based trends have recently taken off. Quote, in this year of nostalgia-inspired celebrations, we wanted to bring something unique this fall by reminiscing the comforting flavors our guests crave this time of year, delivering a taste that feels both familiar and new to appeal to all ages, Duncan said. She also added, we have never done a seasonal breakfast entree, so we're excited about it. And I think it points back to the nostalgic idea of breakfast for dinner. So yeah, that ought to be interesting. We'll see how well that does. And just so you know, I'll personally taste test that just for you. I mean, I'm only doing it for you, just to see if it's okay. Well, all but the coffee one, but anyway. Moving on, we had some big news out of the WNBA, believe it or not. Yeah, the league that nobody cares about. Former NBA player Enes Kanter Freedom declared himself a prospect. Yes, for the 2027 WNBA draft on Friday, challenging the league to explain how its current eligibility rules would rule him out. In fact, here's his announcement right here.
After careful consideration and reviewing the current eligibility guidelines, I am officially declaring myself a WNBA prospect. If simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA. My team and I have carefully examined the WNBA's eligibility criteria and governing framework surrounding self-identification and inclusion. Based on the current guidelines, I can and am officially declaring my eligibility for the upcoming WNBA draft in May 2027. I am definitely not here to mock, make fun of, or disrespect any community or personal choices. I am simply asking that the current rules be applied equally to everyone. The rules that represent the very values many WNBA players and coaches have publicly advocated for. My team and I are prepared to ensure these guidelines are applied equally, consistently, and without exception. And I look forward to the WNBA honoring its stated principles. See you at training camp.
There you go. So some WNBA players and coaches have expressed support for transgender identifying athletes competing in women's sports. Golden State Valkyries forward Gabby Williams, for example, has said that she would welcome a transgender identifying athlete on her team or as an opponent. So here you go. Freedom, by the way, is now challenging the league to apply that philosophy to his own declaring eligibility. And Freedom is a 6'10". Yes, he's 6'10". He played for the Portland Trailblazers for a little while and a few other teams, but he had listed playing weight of 250 pounds during his NBA career, which would make him the heaviest player in the WNBA among its tallest. Well, the WNBA doesn't know what to do, and so what did they do? They held a meeting on Wednesday to discuss the all-important question: what is a woman? Yeah, as it faces the controversy over whether men should be allowed to play in the league. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert told teams in a memo that a committee consisting of team presidents and general managers would speak on the issue of men in women's sports during the meeting. That's according to ESPN. Well, the result of the meeting was underwhelming, as the WNBA leaders came to no conclusion on transgender athletes competing in their league. Instead, they pushed the major decision even further down the road and urged people to stop speaking in bad faith efforts on the subject. So stop talking about our league. A league nobody really talks about anyway. Oh, man. Quote, today's meeting covered a wide range of topics, including ongoing discussions on transgender athletes and the continued hate and vitriol directed at players online. We will continue to engage all league stakeholders in the coming weeks and months, is what the WNBA spokesperson said in a statement. Of course, as you know, I mean, this is just a bunch of mumbo jumbo, right? Saying we still haven't come to a conclusion of what a woman is, right? We will approach these important conversations thoughtfully and in alignment with the values of our league. There are no immediate eligibility matters affecting the WNBA, sure, and we strongly denounce the bad faith efforts to use these topics to demean or marginalize, you got to get that word in, marginalize, right? Or marginalize others. Mumbo jumbo. Wow. Well, neither Gilbert nor the WNBA higher ups could come to a conclusion on what should have been a simple yes or no vote. And the debate on transgender athletes in sports escalated after Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham took a stance on the issue and said that she wanted to protect young girls in the locker room or young girls in sport who shouldn't have to go against biological men. And Cunningham's comments led to some WNBA players and coaches criticizing her and supporting men in women's sports. Well, supporters of Cunningham were even scolded out courtside when, of course, we brought you the story of the Seattle Storm co-owner Kelsey Keaton and how she yelled at the teenagers for wearing shirts advocating for the protection of women in sports. The issue also prompted former former NBA pros Freedom, of course, and also Royce White as well to declare for the WNBA draft. That draft comes up in next spring, so we'll see how that goes from here, and if they can identify what a woman is. Well, going from the WNBA to the NBA, and I bring this to you because, as you know, if you are a regular listener of the podcast, I am a Portland Trail Blazers fan, and I always have been. And so as a Portland Trail Blazers fan, it is my duty and responsibility, and I think even the law, to go against the Lakers and always root against the LA Lakers. Well, a partnership led by Josh Kirshner, that's the brother of President Donald Trump's son-in-law, reached a deal to buy the Los Angeles Lakers on Wednesday morning for a record-breaking $12.5 billion. Yeah, the deal, which was first reported by ESPN's Ramona Shelburne, is an 11 even figure, and that will make it the largest sale of a professional sports franchise, edging out the previous sale of a majority stake in the Lakers last year, and the Seattle Seahawks being sold for $9.6 billion in July. Well, Mark Walter, who purchased the Lakers just 10 months ago, and of course, setting the previous record high sale at $10 billion, is selling the storied franchise to former Disney CEO Bob Iger and businessman Josh Kirshner, of course, again, the brother of Jared Kirshner. Quote, as lifelong fans, NBA fans, we are deeply honored for the opportunity to become stewards of the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the most iconic sports franchises in the world, is what they said in a joint statement. We have immense respect for the leadership and vision of Jerry and Jeannie Buss. Our long-term commitment is to build on that foundation and compete at the highest level and serve this extraordinary team, its fans, and the city of Los Angeles. The Busses were the ones that owned the team for a really long time, till like about 10 months ago when it got sold. And then, of course, just this week got sold again. Well, prior to selling to Walter in 2025, the Buss family had owned the Lakers since 1979, and the team won 11 of their 17 championship titles in that time frame. Walter also owns the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Los Angeles Sparks, and the entire Professional Women's Hockey League, among other ventures. So he's got a few sports things under his belt. Walter came under scrutiny last month, though, however, when Bloomberg published an article reporting that Guggenheim Partners, the investment firm which Walter is the CEO of, is being investigated for disclosing billions of dollars in loans. And Kirshner and Iger, their purchase, which Shelburne reported had happened incredibly fast, was involved in the WNBA's potential expansion process into the Las Vegas team before making an aggressive offer to take the franchise off Walter's hands. Kirshner is currently a minor owner in the Miami Heat, while Iger owns the National Women's Soccer League's Angel City FC. The transaction will need to be approved by the NBA's Board of Governors before it is finalized. Can't imagine it wouldn't, though. And that process could take weeks, according to ESPN. Well, speaking of stepping aside, Carolyn Leavitt will leave her role as White House press secretary at the end of the month. President Donald Trump announced on Wednesday this, saying, "Our wonderful White House press secretary and one of my most trusted allies, Carolyn Leavitt, will be departing her role at the end of the month so she can spend more time with her beautiful young children and family, a decision I totally understand and respect," is what Trump said on Wednesday afternoon. "Caroline will now be one of my top outside advisors," he said, and influential voice within the Republican Party as we work to defy history and consecutively win the midterm elections. Well, the president praised Leavitt for her work in his administration, writing, "Carolyn has been a real leader in the White House and has done a phenomenal job fighting for justice, liberty, and freedom since 2018, including our historic re-election campaign in 2024. Carolyn had been one of the best White House press secretaries in the history of the office. Thank you, Caroline, for a job well done." Leavitt, of course, recently gave birth to her second baby in May, a baby daughter. And she said she is perfect and healthy, and her big brother is joyfully adjusting to life with his new baby sister, is what Leavitt shared at the time. "We are enjoying every moment in our blissful newborn bubble," and she also said that the White House, being White House press secretary, has been the honor and adventure of a lifetime. Quote, "I am incredibly grateful to President Trump for granting me so many extraordinary opportunities," she said, "such as working in the West Wing and spending countless hours in the Oval Office, flying around the world and meeting foreign leaders, and traveling across our beautiful country and meeting Americans from all walks of life," she said. "Most of all, I am thankful to the president for entrusting me with the distinct privilege of speaking on his behalf at the White House podium." So, yeah, that's, a lot of people will step back from things and they'll say, "Well, I'm doing it for family reasons, to spend more time with the family." Well, in this case, I think she is. So good for her, right? Good for her. Well, let's end on kind of an interesting note. There was a new study done, the University of Vienna, and their findings are the first direct evidence of its kind that animals possess the ability to read and respond to positive and negative emotions. Yeah, kind of interesting, right? Researchers used machine learning to analyze brain scans of 12 border collies as the animals viewed images of human faces displaying different emotions. Brain regions in the dogs linked to higher cognitive functions and reward processing. The temporal cortex and caudate nucleus, I guess is how you pronounce that. Again, I'm not a medical guy, but they were found to have been activated only by images of happy strangers. So that's kind of interesting. When shown images of angry or fearful and sad emotions, those regions did not produce a response. The researchers then looked at responses across the whole brain of the collies and found distinct activity patterns that differentiated fear from anger and sadness. So they could tell the difference there. Quote, "To the best of our knowledge," this is what the team said in the study, "this is the first evidence that dogs can distinguish between two human faces showing negative expressions. This suggests that the dog brain separates human facial expressions by valence and shows separability among some negative human facial contrasts, particularly those involving fear." So, yeah, so kind of interesting, right? They're starting to learn that dogs can and hey, if you're a dog owner, you kind of already knew this, didn't you? Right? I mean, when you're feeling sad, doesn't your dog come over and try to cheer you up? I mean, it's just kind of one of those things you kind of already know. But now we have some research backing behind it. So anyway, I'd love to hear what you think on it. Of course, you could always do that at uncommonsensepodcast.com. And thank you for listening.
This podcast is a production of Morganite Communications.